All right, Here we go. Michael Jai White, welcome back.
All right, good to be back.
Oh yeah, you had a hell of an interview.
Well, yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect when I first sat down. That's when you and I just got to know each other. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know where it was going, so I just was like just rolling with it.
Well, we did a list of our biggest interviews of 2019, and you were number 7.
Yeah, that really surprised me. It really surprised me.
Yeah, 8 million views combined.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I like I said, I was really surprised about it because usually when I do interviews, I just don't think. I'm just like in point me mode, and but I just know with the, kind of most of the people who interview you, they're not from the background that you and I possibly share. You know what I mean? They're not as knowledgeable about streets and just kind of the alpha shit. And so to have another cat that's like a real cat talk to me, it's like it brought out other things. I felt like I'm speaking to people I grew up with. So that was a pleasure for me.
Oh yeah, and you and I have become friends since then.
Oh yeah,
I've been to your house a bunch of times.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, last week. Went to a bunch of the fight parties. And what was interesting as when I was walking around your place last week, one of your friends was like, "Hey, when you guys did that interview, how long did you guys know each other?" And I'm like, "We just met that day."
But that's the way it is,
Yeah.
Like I think some of my best friends became my best friends instantly, because I'm not an easy person to be friends. I'm not an asshole, but I'm saying I don't befriend people easy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But when it happens, it's really organic, and I'm almost never wrong about that. I've been on my own for a long time, and one of the things you do, you learn how to assess people, and so that's how it is to me. Like you click, and you always click because it's like you vibrate at a certain level together. So that's what it's about. And I always trust my instincts like that.
Hey man, listen, I definitely appreciate our relationship, and I'm a big fan of what you do on top of that.
Yeah, me too, man. I've learned a lot just seeing we're in the same industry, and what you're learning, what we share as far as information and things like that is deep, because it's like it's real stuff, real life, real news. So it's very interesting to me.
No doubt. Well, let's go ahead and get into it then.
Yeah.
I looked you up again, and you currently have 101 film credits.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Sounds like a lot.
Film and TV credits.
Yeah. Okay. Mixed together. All right.
That's a lot.
Yeah. It's just, man, I'm just always still. I still feel like I'm still on my road. I am, but I don't think of it as when I hear that number, I'm like, that's kind of a trip. I'm so focused through the windshield, I'm not thinking about the rear view. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I got a lot that I want to do that I haven't done yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a journey since your first acting role was 1989 in Toxic Avenger Part 2.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
As Apocalypse Incorporated executive Michael White.
That's funny, man.
They use your real name, huh?
But yeah. But that's how I learned that I had the mindset of a director and producer, because I was supposed to play one little part and be gone. I ended up choreographing, ended up doing like a dance thing there. I doubled the lead and created like about 3 scenes in the movie, just because I started like opening my mouth up and saying, "Hey, what about this?" And people started listening to me, and so they dug my ideas, and ever since then, that's been my thing. I've always just thrown myself completely into whatever I'm doing. When I did the Tyson movie, I created roles there. I even wrote a scene that it turned out to be the director's favorite scene, and it was something that I felt like was missing from the script. And he dug it. I mean, it was like, I'm like, yo, I shot it to him and I said, well, hey, you don't have to say I wrote it at all. I don't care about credit. So that's really what it's like, man, because, even when I did the Tyson movie, I was the only person on that set who came from New York, who was a teenager at the same time he was a teenager, who grew up in a lifestyle that was similar to him. And so the director was from Germany, he was over in the country for 4 years. The costume supervisor was from Ireland. Like, I was one of the only Americans on the damn on the damn set. So I was like, I had to open my mouth and say, yo, this ain't right. You need to do this, and all that stuff. So at the end, it was all going to come down on my head anyway. So, ever since my beginning, I knew, hey, I don't care about whatever lane it is. I'm going to do my best, and if I got something to say over here, and it makes sense, and we all win from it, hey, I'm going to open my mouth.
Well, last time you were here, we talked about Undercover Brother 2.
Mm-hmm.
And since that time, it's come out on Netflix.
Right.
What did you think of the movie?
You just happened to ask me right in time, because I haven't seen the movie till just recently.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I don't fall in love with my own stuff. Mm-hmm. And since there was I took that role in a week's time, and next thing I know, I'm on set, and I had to change. Like how it was written, it was like I had to kind of say, hey, if I'm bringing my energy to it, it's got to be a little like this. But I saw the movie, and it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was. I really was afraid of watching it. Because, I didn't, they never showed me a cut before. I've never lied. I've never said, come watch a movie, this movie is great or whatever. I'll trash my own stuff if I don't like it. I'm always going to be honest. Nothing's going to, take my integrity and honesty from me. But I saw the movie and I'm like, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be silly. Some people was thinking, oh, it's supposed to be like Black Dynamite. It's got nothing to do with Black Dynamite. It's a whole different comedy style. This was supposed to be silly. And then I saw the movie and I'm going, yeah, it's silly like it was meant to be. It's farcical. So I was like, okay. It wasn't nearly as bad as I thought, because I didn't want to see it for a long time. But, and then, of course, people are going to, you rolled with Eddie Griffin at first. If you're expecting Eddie Griffin, you're going to be upset, right? I don't mind people doing that because, I'm stepping into his role. So always there's going to be people that's not going to feel that. But, I thought, hey, it wasn't that bad to me.
Well, I think it was kind of tough because the original movie, and I'm looking it up now, had a budget of $25 million.
Hell yeah.
This movie had a budget of
like damn near nothing. But what's humor? If you can put it on the page. It was a big budgeted movie back when they had a lot of money to pay for movies. Back in the day, even the action stuff or whatever, you have a fraction of the budget nowadays.
Yeah, this was 2002. So imagine 25 million back then is really more like 40 million today.
Absolutely. And we did this on a budget of, it's the catering budget for the first movie. Undercover Brother 2 was like,
yeah, I can't even find the budget.
Crazy.
Yeah, I can't even find the budget for this one.
No, you're not going to find a budget.
There's no Wikipedia page for it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But and you got to think that in the first one, you had Eddie Griffin, who you mentioned, but you also had Dave Chappelle.
You had Chi McBride, man. You had
Robert Townsend. James Brown was in it.
Robert Townsend was in it?
Robert Townsend as Mr. UB.
Really?
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Man. Billy D. Williams was in it.
Yeah.
Jesse Jackson had a role in it.
Yeah, see, they had some money in that one. So
Dennis Rodman was in. Oh no,
really?
Archive footage. No, it's archive footage. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Pam Grier. Oh no, wait, no, Pam Grier wasn't in it. Okay, hold on. It says archive footage, so I'm mistaking some of this stuff here.
Yeah.
But Denise Richards. Neil Patrick Harris.
Man, yeah, they had a hell of a cast back then. We had. They're just trying to get a few more drops out of that franchise. But, my thing is, hey, man, if I do the best I could do, I could give a damn what anybody says, right? So, if I didn't give it my best shot, that's when I'd be, I'd have a problem with it. But yeah, for what it is, I felt like it hit its mark. It was supposed to be this silly movie, let you forget about your life a little bit for a little bit of time, and and just let's be goofy a little bit. So that's really what it is. And people want to hate, go ahead. I mean, whatever. I don't think it was bad, really. I don't think it was amazing, but if you had the $25 million budgeted movie on your mind, and then this $2 million budgeted movie, yeah, you're gonna have a little, the expectation is up here with all that. Yeah, but we did what we did, and I'm all right with that.
It was a fun movie. It's not gonna win an Oscar.
Nope.
It was a fun movie.
Nope.
Well, then you were in Dragged Across Concrete, which
Yeah.
was a big budget movie. Well, this movie
not
here,
really.
well, it was a $15 million budget movie.
Yeah.
But it made over $300 million.
Mm-hmm.
You got some checks coming in the mail. In case you haven't checked yet.
Yeah, man. Hey, my thing is keep it diverse. I do. People, they always gonna try to pigeonhole you, right? So I'm the guy that kicks people in the head, right? Over here, but then I'm making you laugh over here or whatever. See, those two movies are drastically different.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of actors, they stick to a one. He's a romantic comedy guy, and that's where you're supposed to be. They pigeonhole you, but that's not me, man. I have a whole lot more of my repertoire to even do. So it's natural that people try to put you on a certain shelf until you break off of that shelf. So I'm gonna keep breaking off the shelf. So get used to that.
Well, there's a pretty strong cast in this one. Vince Vaughn, Don Johnson,
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
I was concerned at first.
Right.
Yeah, I was concerned. I was like, oh man, how is this gonna be?
Mel Gibson. Did you ever hear the leaked telephone tape?
Yeah, I heard that.
He said he told his girlfriend at the time, "You look like a fucking pig in heat. If you get raped by a pack of N-words with a hard R,
Right.
it will be your fault."
Right. Yeah.
Was it a little uncomfortable hanging out with Mel on the set?
No, it wasn't uncomfortable. Not 1 minute.
Okay.
Let me explain how I look at things, and I'm not doing this just to be politically correct or just try to gain fans. I could give a damn about that. I'm gonna be honest. I judge. I try to be very balanced when I'm judging things. There are situations where, as a black man, there's things that I would say, and I would think somebody else in the privacy of their own, relationship or whatever could say. There are one gripe I have. There are N-words, niggas, whatever, that are proud to call themselves that and conduct themselves that way. I ain't cool with that either. I'm not cool with people who, I don't know, who will support the negative stereotype. But if in your mind you're trying to rationalize some hoods, right, doing something, that's on you. He's saying something that other people say in the privacy of their own relationship and home. I don't think there's one person who hasn't said that damn word, right, in the privacy of their home. I hate the word. First of all, I hate it, but I'm not going to judge somebody in that way. You say it to me, you got major problems, right? That's disrespectful. I had my issues knowing that I don't know how comfortable he was with the word, and being a big star, I don't know how if people didn't check you, but my fear was like, oh my God, I'm going to be on set. And if this man is the way I think he might be, there's going to be problems because I don't care. I don't care how big someone is. You disrespect me, you got problems. I don't care. So that's the thing. I was like, whoo, how's this going to be? So that was my concern. I know this man said this in the privacy of between him and his woman. That's his business, okay? I know they want to make me, society wants to make me mad and say he's a racist. I don't know that. The way I feel, like everybody says it. So, but when this man first met me, and my tension was like, I don't know how he's going to come off to me, and and I know who I am. The first thing he said is like, "Hey man, how are you doing? Man, my son and I love your movies." And he's talking about Blood and Bone, and he's talking about martial arts, and he's doing jujitsu, with with Higa Machado, who I train with, and I'm like, what? And he's just telling me all this stuff. I mean, I'm like, wait a minute, this is Mel Gibson telling me he's a fan of my movies. This is a trip. But that's who he seems to be and not just this day, but every time I was around him, just a self-effacing, cool, kickback kind of dude who is like an alpha male. And just down to earth, and just very, very open. I didn't know what to expect from the guy, but as a person who I feel like I can judge people pretty well, I feel like I could tell the difference with somebody's just shining me on, and if somebody's the genuine person. When somebody's got alcohol or whatever, in that scenario, you trying to scare your woman or you trying to say something else, could somebody else say that? I think they could.
I've never used that word in anger with any of the women I've dated and any of the friends that I've been mad at. I've had people steal from me. I've had very bad relationships over the years. I can't think of a single time that I've used that word in anger. It's just not me.
That's not you.
It's not me.
I know that I could see that that's not you.
It's just not
I think
me.
You're very sensitive to it. I don't, I can't say I haven't. As I've gotten older, I almost never really use it. Only in a comic way, every now and then. But it's like, because it means too much to me now because of where it comes from. And there's people who defend the word, and my defense is, if it's the same word that you've heard before someone's life gets taken, how could it be a term of endearment? That's my issue with that, of saying, of embracing the word as a term of endearment. It never is that to me. But I mean, it's what it means to the person saying it at the time. You know what I mean? That's really how I feel about it. There's people who can really say that word and say it with the intent that it is, the intent that it was originally used for. And when people are saying that, I think they're referring to not all black people. I think they're referring to a sect that I think everybody can agree is probably not the optimum, not our best folks. Because I'm talking about the people who proudly call themselves that, which I have a big problem with, because that's accepting of a white supremacist view, and that is like the most dangerous white supremacy is the white supremacy that other people of color actually believe themselves, and therefore treat themselves in a way that's like unbecoming of who you really are.
Yeah, Godfrey's a regular guest on the show, and we talked about how he has an issue with certain types of black comedians who didn't grow up a certain type of way, who grew up middle class, proper, and so forth.
Right.
But when they get in front of a white audience, they'll start throwing the N-word around.
Oh yeah.
For laughs.
Have your style, but every comedian doesn't have to use the word nigga in front of fucking white audiences every fucking minute. You don't. Not some do it because it's their natural language, but some do it because you're insecure and you think you got to start fucking tap dancing because there's a white audience. And I don't give a fuck who the audience is. Fuck you. You should be as intelligent as you are. You went to school, man. Your parents busted your ass to educate you. Fucking use it.
Yeah, because it's cheap laughs, man.
Yeah.
It's like this lack of material. It's just the lowest common denominator type shit. I don't like that either. It's transparent. You know where it's coming from. If you think of yourself as less than, you will allow yourself to be called that word and you will use that word. So coming from the source, I understand how it's coming from you. You've been denigrated for generations and generations, taught to believe you are here. And so for you to embrace that word as a term of endearment goes along with your mindset, okay? Because if you loved yourself and loved your people, you wouldn't allow that.
Yeah, I mean, even Richard Pryor had an epiphany
Absolutely.
at one point.
That is
this
the
was,
strongest point to this,
yeah,
what we're talking about, than anything.
This was a guy that would name his albums with that word.
It's crazy. Yeah, exactly.
And he would use it constantly. He was probably the most popular, I think, black person. He damn near put it on the map. He was like the biggest celebrity.
He was the poster child for
who
the
would
N-word.
use it more often than anyone else. Like I said, his album covers, he would call it that.
Yeah.
And he went to Africa, and someone said,
What he said to himself.
He said, what do you see here? He goes, I see a bunch of beautiful black people. And they're like, do you see any N-words? And he's like, no. And then at that point, he said, I'm never going to use that word again.
Yeah.
And he never used it up until the day he died.
He was the best proponent of what we're talking about than anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a man who woke up. When other people are using that word, I'm very careful not to, because if you want to get your point across, you got to sneak up on them. You don't say, hey, you're wrong, okay? Because they're not going to accept anything you're saying. So it's just basically like understanding you and go, all right, so, I mean, even some of the most amazing, most intellectual, some of our greatest speakers and leaders like Michael Eric Dyson will speak about how we've taken the word back, and he defended using the word. And you got to go, oh my God, like listen to the way that you can, kind of rationalize that. But I mean, really, when it comes down to it, man, like you said, there's no other races that call themselves such a derogatory term. Yeah. And not only that, I mean, think about dog, bitch, fool, all these things that our psyche hears these words. They know where they came from. You can't tell me that you don't register it.
I've never thought about the other common phrase like dog, fool, bitch.
Yeah, like it's all these
right.
things that lull you into you being lesser. That we embrace.
That's deep.
But it is because, hey, man, I get it. There was a time not that long ago where even my grandparents and their grandparents said to anybody who dared to get an education and look a white man in the eye, would say, you ain't nothing but a nigga. No, you don't do that. No, you ain't nothing. You are down here. They did that out of love to protect their loved ones, because too many of those kids who said, I'm gonna look this white man in the eye, I'm gonna get an education, wound up hanging from a tree. And so what's happened is that spirit of downing each other, saying, you ain't nothing but a nigga. No, don't aspire to anything better. You ain't better than us. That spirit, it came from something else, but it still lives on, and we snatch each other down, even though you don't have to do that anymore. That's unfortunately this denigration is interwoven within a lot of our community, and it comes out. It comes out in our music. It comes out. What's our comedy, right? You so black, your mama, everything that denigrates. So because what's inside comes out, right? So where's your comedy coming from? What's going on? So you so black, that's the beginning of our comedy. And then our entertainment, cutting you down, loving hip hop. You ain't this, you ain't, no. It's just all of that kind of craziness. It's all coming from self-hate. Where'd it come from? All right, it worked on us. Like, hey, if people could educate themselves of where it came from, all right, the lynch laws and the mental enslavement, all these little things, even as woke as I think my ass is. Do you understand? A year ago, it was acceptable for me to say my people were from South Carolina. My people were from South Carolina. That was a legitimate answer. You know how stupid I think that sounds right now? If you see a Chinese guy and I say, where are your people from? And he says, Ohio. I'd be like, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous. It's as ridiculous for me to say my people are from South Carolina as that Chinese man to say his people are from Ohio. As ridiculous. My people are from somewhere else. Even if you don't know, you at least know, you should know inside, your people are from somewhere else. You are African, and you may not know where your ancestry goes, but you go back much further than South Carolina. You go to South Africa, you go to Zimbabwe, all of that type of stuff. But that little thing right there means a lot, because that means that's where I think my genesis is from a slave field. Right? I mean, that's where psychologically me, a year ago, felt my people were from. And that was my answer. God damn it, that's ridiculous. And so, I mean, of course, last year, a couple years ago, I found where my ancestry came from, which was Ghana. Even then, it's like, okay, whatever. I just really it still didn't land until I went. And I took my family there. And that's when it became really ridiculous to think I'm from South Carolina.
Yeah, I interviewed Bill Duke a couple of times, actually. And he's older. He's about 80 years old. And, I mean, he had grandparents that were maybe one generation away from slavery, growing up in the South.
Right.
And he was telling me about various horror stories, being a dark-skinned man. Right. Living in the South, having to walk, if there's like a white person walking down the street, you'd have to walk off the street and walk into the mud so they could pass by you.
Yeah.
But his parents told him something very interesting that he always kept. He said, they sat him down one day and they said, you're no better than anyone else, but no one else is better than you. And that stuck with him throughout his life.
Yeah, but now imagine, you can say you can be anything you want to someone. If deep down they don't believe that, they'll just go,
Yeah.
Right? We always try to encourage. But those are words. What's deeper is that conditioning that brought you to the place that made you feel like you were less than. And then when you prosper, when you get to a place, what happens? If you feel deep down that you're not worthy of it, you will sabotage yourself. Like all of these very successful rappers and entertainers who get on that platform and just disintegrate.
Yeah.
Because deep down, they don't feel like they deserve it.
You know who's probably the best example of that? Mike Tyson. Guy who you played.
Yeah.
He, and I've heard him talking about money. He burned through like $100 million or something.
Yeah.
He had like a $2 million chain that someone just stole.
Yeah.
Like a $2 million chain that you just left lying around. Someone took it. He was burning through money like nobody's business. Now, he's not poor right now. He's still Mike Tyson, and that name will always have a check associated with him.
Right.
But Mike Tyson could be a billionaire right now.
Right.
He could absolutely be a billionaire if he had the proper type of guidance, and just not being. You could tell that he just had a lot of demons within him that he was trying to self-sabotage himself, which he continued to do decade after decade.
Yeah, of course, I got an interesting insight on Mike Tyson because I'm the only human being whose job it was to dig deep and play him from what I saw. And of course, there's a lot of similarities between Mike Tyson and myself. Luckily, I didn't have the whole world on my shoulder. I went through my phases, and I went through my asshole phase of being the young guy who everybody admired because of what he could do with his hands and feet, right? I learned what that was about early on, and the fact that nobody's being honest with you because they honor something that you do. You mean something to them. You're the gladiator. So in a room full of famous people, presidents, millionaires, billionaires, in a room full of all those kind of people, a guy like Mike Tyson walks in, everybody's looking at him. He does one of the most basic things that a human being could do, whoop your ass. But deep down, psychologically, that's what everybody wants. And people will just alter everything for that. It's what I learned early on, and it drives me crazy to this day because I can try to have an intellectual conversation with someone who's scared to death of me because they think I can kick the shit out of them. And it's like, do you really think that, I'm an intelligent man. I'm an intelligent man talking about something, but they're thinking, oh my God, you can kill me. That happens to me so much. I can't tell. I was talking to this famous director, and he was supportive of things I've done and whatever. Met him at a Broadway opening, and all this guy could talk about is like, have you ever had to really hurt someone? And it's like, man, you kill me like with one punch. And I was like, God damn it, really? That's all you think about right now? It's like, I'm a college educator. I was a former school teacher. I'm like, that's all. I'm reduced to like an 8-armed creature that just killed. You know what I mean? It drives me up a wall. But that pugilist power, of course, my family benefits from it to some degree because, I play make-believe and I play these characters, and I do these things that people want to live vicariously through the guy beating the shit out of people from all around the, people from Russia and everything, that they buy my product. Okay, I benefit from that. But yeah, sometimes you just hope people can decipher you from, like I'm not a brute. I'm not a guy talking about, and thinking about like killing people all the time. But, with the whole Tyson thing, I learned that early. Mike Tyson, you got to think, how many people are honest with this brother? Even if they mean well, they're intimidated. He represents something to them. They want to tell him everything that they think he wants to hear. And playing him, I felt like, man, this is a guy who's always searched for a father figure. And it was amazing. I would watch him and how he'd emulate whatever father figure was in his life. When Customato was there, he dressed like an old Italian man. What young black dude in the late 70s, early 80s wore suspenders and hats like that, right? And he would speak in old sayings like, it's the what he would say, the what's the difference between a hero and a coward? All that. He would speak like Customato did. Then when Customato was gone, Kevin Rooney had this really fast way of talking. He'd jumble his sentences. he started sounding like that. Then
Don King.
but even before then who's the mentor there after Customado's gone? There's Jim Jacobs, who was married. Mike gets married. Has wants to have a family like he does. He marries Robin. Then of course Don King. Now Mike's political. Now the N word is every other word coming out of his mouth. Very much like Don King. Goes to prison, comes out.
A Muslim.
Yeah, exactly. With another father figure on one shoulder, which is Arthur Ashe. I feel, and then, with Shelley Finkel afterwards, I watched a guy that, to me, in my assessment, was always looking for love and some, embracement of that father figure. And interestingly would just transform depending on what the world looked like around him. So yeah, it's an amazingly hard thing to develop underneath all of that, with all of the pressure on the world and just like, damn, who's going to be honest with this brother, Well,
the Customado situation was a bit strange. Because Customado ran a school for boys.
Yes.
And in the movie, there was a woman that was always with him, which we assumed was his wife.
Right.
But that was not his wife.
Camille, yeah. No, it wasn't.
No, it was not.
No.
This man was never married, had no children, and ran a school for boys.
Yes. Interesting, yeah. I mean, I went, when I got the role, I went to that house. I went to the Catskills on my own, put myself right on that doorstep, and I pleaded. I said, look, this movie's going to happen. Please give me your side of it, because I only have one side. There's things in this movie. There was a scene where Teddy Atlas supposedly pulls a gun on him and said that Mike Tyson ran and shrieked and actually cried. I said, I don't believe that. I got a meeting with Teddy Atlas and I asked him. I said, well, what did he really do? And he said, well, he kind of looked at me defiantly. I said, yeah, okay. That's, it says he ran away and cried in the movie. It's right here in the script. There was all these things that I'm going, I don't believe this. Because guess what? A surfer dude wrote the script, man. It was like, this guy, I was like, when I found out who wrote it, it's like, that dude wrote it? Like, what does he know about? There was so many things that was like all over the place in that movie. We had, like, I come to set and they have friends of Tyson dressed up like LA gangbangers. I'm like, what? And there's Carefree Curl things on I'm like, we didn't have that in New York. We didn't dress like that. We had Lee's on. We had to change this. Oh, okay. And so my thing was like, hey, I'm going to get blamed for it if it's some bullshit,
Yeah.
But then people started, they started listening to me because I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I was there. I'm around at this time. But there was a whole lot of stuff, man. I was being a detective. And so, I just wanted to portray the truth as as best as I could see it. And my boy Frankie was one of my best friends. He and Mike were really good friends, and he put me in contact with Mike while he was in prison. Incidentally, me and Frankie, we set some other stuff up with Mike with this whole K1 and Bob Sapp thing later. But when Mike got out, everything was all good. We didn't divulge too much of any craziness that I think Mike was concerned with in the script.
Yeah.
But Mike didn't know how much I was fighting for as much truth as I found out.
Yeah, Mike's such a megastar that he just assumes that people will cover him and talk about him and make movies out of him.
Yeah.
He's been going through that.
I know he was concerned that other stuff would be in the movie that we was like, nah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of fighting, one movie that we didn't cover in our last interview that everyone was asking about was Blood and Bone. I finally got to see it. I didn't actually see it back then.
Okay.
So I finally, since last time I went and, ordered it on demand and got to watch it.
Yeah.
Very interesting film. It's not what I expected.
Okay.
It was very like, how should I really explain it? Like it had this kind of comedic edge to it. It wasn't like a totally serious film, but it was like a serious fight film.
Right.
But the script had kind of this kind of comedy edge to it. But it had like a lot of very classic type scenes and fight scenes and everything. And I'm like, okay, now I understand why this is such a cult classic, because it just didn't follow a standard formula of like, okay, fight film, guy comes in, beats everyone
fight
up.
for no reason.
Fight for no reason. Yeah. I dug it. And the film kind of starts off with a Kimbo Slice fight scene.
Yeah.
Did you know Kimbo Slice before that?
No, I didn't.
He ended up doing MMA, which did not fare well. But he was known as a backyard brawler.
Right.
Pretty much. He got known because there was like a video around where he fought some dude in the backyard and he like knocked his eye out or something.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. But on your YouTube channel, you had this interesting kind of breakdown of when you were working on the fight scene with him, it didn't really go according to plan.
Yeah, well, see, Kimbo, man, I love this guy. I mean, he the reason he was such a mega star is because he was such a good dude. And sometimes, you can't hide from your nature. Kimbo was a really nice guy, like it was, known that he was like kind of a, backyard, fighting legend, and he had that persona, which is bigger than life. He tried to, make what skills he had work. But of course, if you don't learn the craft of it, you're going to be short-lived. And that's my concern, is that, he's heart and everything else, but it's like street ball versus professional ball.
Yeah.
There could be entertaining things, but then when it comes down to it, if you don't have the basics, you're not going to go very long.
Yeah, that's what happened when he started MMA fighting.
Right.
He had guys that you thought he was going to annihilate that ended up just...
Yeah, because you're looking at the images.
Yeah. Huge dude.
He's
got a big beard. He looks scary.
Yeah, it's just not the images a lot of times. Because, I grow up, I've sparred. It ain't nobody I won't get in the ring with, period, right? I love fighting too much, right? I've always loved the art of it, and I'm a fight nerd. And I love like helping out, and train. Like last night I was training with Glover Teixeira, because I happened to be in Connecticut, and I had time, and I went over to his gym. I'll get on the floor with anybody, and I love training with people at their home gym because they're better there. But like I've been a nerd with it for the beginning, and so when I was explaining to Kimbo about like telegraphing, because he would telegraph a great deal.
Telegraphing meant that he would do something before he punched.
Yeah, he'd lean in.
You could see it coming.
Like that. So it's like, that's okay if you're fighting other guys on the street who don't know any better, but people who learn from the beginning, they're gonna like capitalize on that. There's so many things you can capitalize if somebody telegraphs. And so I wanted to keep it realistic. So I said, okay, try to, as fast as you can, try to get me with a knife, right? Try to, he's got a rubber knife. And so he doesn't know. I've been doing this for like 35 freaking years at a high level, and working with some of the best people in the world. So I'm going, like, he doesn't know he's indicating. But so I'm going to make it realistic, because most of the people in the street are not going to know they're indicating too. So we didn't have a lot of camera tricks or whatever. And the cameraman didn't even know how to shoot action. So I had to just do everything just on camera. So I would have Kimbo, as fast as you can, man, try to hit me with the knife, like with the rubber knife. And so when he would go out, my fist would go by his face, right? Then I grab the knife, and then try to stick him in the, take it away from him and try to stick him in the shoulder. But even if I didn't successfully grab it, we were gonna use a cut to get the knife in there. We're gonna cut to that, it being in there. But still, I wanted it pure, where he's really trying to hit me and I'm catching him before he hits me, and that part's gonna be real. But but when you punch by somebody's face, they're supposed to go like this. But I kept doing that. I'm going, no, you're not reacting. He's like, what do you mean? And he thought I meant reacting to the shoulder thing. And I'm like, no, react to the punch that I'm throwing by your face. And we do it again. He's like, what punch? I'm like, dude, I'm throwing a punch right by your face. And then I did it again and it hit him. And he's like, he kind of freaked out because he's like, wait a minute, I didn't see that coming. And we did several takes that's not on that thing, but he was telling me, hey man, how are you doing this when I don't even see the punch coming? And so that's when I was like, yeah, I'll show you outside. And he's such a good dude, man. It's like, and I want to help him out. And then after that, it's like, let's get together, let's work out, let's train. We'll go over this stuff. Because really, the truth of the matter is, it takes thousands of repetitions to create muscle memory, but it takes almost double that to recreate muscle memory. If you have a habit, you're gonna do that every time. It's gonna take a long time for you to get that habit out of you. So I was like, hey man, we can work on this. Let me get with you and your people, but it freaked him out a little much because he just felt like, man, you and the money's just gonna try to come whip my ass. I'm like, why am I gonna? That's not my interest. I'm not thinking about doing that. Like, come on, man. I want you to win. I'm helping. I'm gonna give you something that you can use.
Well, he passed away 3 years ago at the age of 42. That's younger than both of us, man.
He didn't slow down from the whole partying thing, though.
Yeah, it's probably drug related.
Yeah.
I would guess.
He's a good dude, man. That really hit me because, he's deep down, man. That dude's heart was so huge. It was so huge, man. That's why I really deep down, want cast him, help him. I wanted him to win, man. I wanted him to whoop ass. He had the heart, right? So he just needed the technique, and that's what I really wanted to, kind of work with him on.
What was the effect of that movie when it came out? Was it kind of a hit from the beginning, or was it like slow and kind of?
No, it was Sony's most successful non-theatrical.
Okay, so it never came out in theaters.
Yeah, they regretted that big time. They're like, we should have taken this theatrical. I'm like, yeah, man. And I had a plan on how to bring it out theatrical, and they didn't listen. It's the same plan that Tyler Perry and Will Packer has done, and I've been shoulder to shoulder with those brothers, and I know how to reach my community. They don't know that, so it's like I shot, I put my shot out there. Now it's like, well, but this is the reason why now I'm doing my own thing. So I have my own films that I put together, that I finance, and I can bring it to the community. I can bring it to my audience better than anybody else can. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, speaking of fighting, your karate reflexes have caused you to hit guys on accident?
Oh my God, yeah.
So you just be walking down the street, minding your own business.
Well, it used to be worse. I sometimes I draw back on folks, but I haven't hit anybody in a while.
When's the last time you hit somebody?
I don't know, and I don't want to say anything. But back in the day, see, I had always had a great offense, right? So I work tirelessly on my defense. I would do round after round and have people try to land on me. And part of the higher fighting is doing things just out of reflex, because that's when it comes down to it. I don't care, you can do all the stuff in the air or whatever that you want, but it's coming down to your reflexes. And so I would work a lot on, reading what you're coming at me with and responding. So back in the day when I was fighting a lot, my reflexes was, they was kind of crazy. And so if you look like you punching at me, I might do something back at you. I'm on a train, and there's this dude to my left that's like, this is standing room only on the train coming into Grand Central Station. And this cat had a suit on. And so he went to go check his watch. And when you check your watch, you kind of do this.
I never thought about that.
That's exactly what happened. And it's deep down somewhere, a punch is coming at my head. And I'm not even conscious of what I'm doing. But all I know is there's a punch coming at my head. I block it and hit my man in the nose before I even know it. I'm just here like this, and then I was like this, and then homeboy was like, his glasses are down over his mouth, and he was like this, going, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. And the people around us were like, kind of concerned with him, and I'm going, they didn't see that. And this was just as the train was docking. I was just like standing there, and people tending to homeboy, and I'm like just waiting for the doors to open.
Get out of here.
I tipped the hell out. And when I got up, to the final staircase up to the street, I heard somebody say, I could have sworn you hit that guy. I was like, me? Nuh-uh.
I'm out.
Yeah, and I knocked out a jogger one time by accident. That was a long time ago. Statute of limitations.
Okay,
I ain't gonna tell you exactly where I was, but I mean, I was walking, and sometimes you're on the sidewalk, and I'm very aware of my surroundings, and I guess this cat was running on the grass portion behind me, or something, because I didn't hear no footsteps until he shifted over to the concrete right next to me, and what looks kind of like, oh, I'm under attack, I guess, but again, just reflexes was like. He came by like this, and I just went, and I caught him right in the temple, right? And I was like, oh, shit. And then he ran past me, but then he tilted like that V8 commercial, and he fell out. And, while he was, coming to, like maybe about 45 seconds later, I was like, oh, relax. He's crawling out into the street trying to get away from me. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to rob you. He goes out to the street, and now cars are stopping. This is becoming a scene right now.
Wow.
So your boy tipped out again. Just these stories end with me just running away. But being in martial arts a long time, I got reflexes like that, and that's why I try to tell people, don't come at me like, hey, it's like,
All right, point taken. I'll make sure to slowly shake your hand next time I see you.
My wife gets on me about that. Like, she'll try to take some lint off my head real fast, and then I'll grab her hand or whatever. And I'm like, babe, I can't control that. What you want? Like, we get attacked by ninjas, you're gonna be happy that I got that kind of.
Attacked by ninjas.
But yeah, I have not hit my wife. I haven't hit anyone in a long time.
There you go. We talked about Spawn last time, which was the first superhero movie.
Yeah.
Well, the first black superhero movie.
Yeah, first black.
Superman came out.
Well, yeah, yeah.
So let me just correct myself here. But then you were also Bronze Tiger on Arrow. Good series. Been on for a long time.
Yeah, now. Arrow was a fun series. I love those folks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I'm in the superhero genre, but I never was a big fan of the superhero thing. But people really assume that I am because I'm in it. I'm grateful, but like, it was a great opportunity, and I wouldn't mind doing it again. But yeah, the genre is, it's a huge, of course, it's the biggest genre.
Well, I think they're talking about incorporating the Arrow into the DC universe. Because now there's more DC movies. Aquaman was a hit. Batman has always been a hit. But now you have like, was the Justice League? Wonder Woman was, a solid movie. And I had heard rumors of the Arrow get incorporated in future movies? Huh?
Yeah, for me, man, it's like I'm going like this, but I'm like, I don't know.
Okay.
You know, even when I was younger, I just wasn't into the whole comic book thing too much. Yeah, so my wife had to tell me what Bronze Tiger was when they offered me the role. She had to tell me. You know, I don't. Yeah.
Well, you were in a couple episodes of the Boondocks.
Yeah.
You were in. You played Bushido Brown.
Yeah, which I was doing an impression of Jim Kelly.
Right. Yeah. I was in one episode of the Boondocks.
Oh yeah. Oh, you were you.
Yeah, I was me.
Yeah.
I played myself.
I remember. Yeah.
And of course, John Witherspoon played Pops in that series. I saw a picture of the two of you together, but you guys actually know each other?
No, we were at the roast of Tommy Davidson, I believe.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, Tommy Davidson. That's a brother of mine. We have the same birthday, and we used to throw parties together. I was always I was the DJ of the parties that we'd always.
Oh, you DJ'd?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I was a DJ. Yeah, I was a DJ in New York for a while.
One more thing in common now.
Yeah.
I interviewed him last year, and I was such a fan. I was just, like Boomerang was probably my second favorite Eddie Murphy movie ever.
Yeah.
And Friday was one of my all-time favorite movies, and I was such a huge fan of the Boondocks. Really sad that he passed away, but at 78 years old, he was still working up until the very end.
Yeah, I think he did it his way.
Yeah.
I mean, John Witherspoon goes back. He's like, man, he and David Letterman being that type. That's a very interesting kind of, you wouldn't have put that together, but it does make a lot of damn sense.
They're both comedians.
Yeah.
Letterman used to do stand-up.
Yeah. I remember Letterman remember him doing stand-up at University of Connecticut. That's my first memory of that guy. He opened up for Angela Bofill at college, just a long time ago. Yeah, man.
But yeah, he was, when I asked him, I said, look, at 77, because he died at 78, but I said, at 77, why are you still working? I mean, you have money, you've made millions of dollars. He goes, well, I could sit around my house and look at my waterfall all day, but I'll probably die a lot quicker if that's what happened. What keeps you going all these years? Because most 76-year-olds would probably be retired by now.
Money. I like that cash. Keep you alive. If I had to get up now, forget doing an interview like this, I'll be sitting at home by my waterfall. If I didn't come and do this. And now tomorrow I got to drive to Oxnard. I'm working in Oxnard Improv. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So and it's the cash, and to stay alive,
And he had a crazy touring schedule.
Yeah.
Like he was literally, I think, on his way to a show when he had a heart attack and died. He was packing or something.
I was surprised 'cause I know he kept physically fit. He was running. I mean, I know some years ago that dude was like doing some serious running.
Yeah, he was still in good shape. Like he would. He had this show called Cooking for Poor People.
Yeah.
On YouTube, and he filmed it. I guess he had this other house that he would film at, and he would do the show with like his shirt off. He was still like doing his thing at the end, man. Very sad. Rest in peace.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think they're supposed to do a new Boondocks reboot, and I'm just wondering whether that's going to happen. Did they hit you about that at all?
No.
They haven't hit me either.
Yeah, I don't know. It's,
Too bad.
These reboots, I not really.
Well, there was a talk of a Spawn reboot, and I guess you would talk to Todd McFarlane about it, and he said that he wants to do it. And then what?
Well, okay, there's a lot of things I don't completely understand. First of all, Todd McFarlane, I've never known him to direct anything. I know the fans don't know any better. They go, oh yeah, Todd McFarlane's doing another Spawn. He never did a first Spawn.
Well, he was the writer and artist.
He created
of
the comic book.
Yes.
It's a whole different skill set. When you're directing, it's something completely different. To direct the movie. I mean, like Stan Lee did not direct any of the movies.
Right. Okay.
You
but
know what I mean? So
was he involved in the script at all?
who?
Todd McFarlane.
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay.
Because then it would be screenplay by Todd McFarlane.
And it wasn't.
No, it was Alan McElroy.
So they basically just licensed it from him and did their own thing.
That's what happens.
Okay.
That's how that works. I mean, it's like you don't see a script by like one of the Marvel movies by Stan Lee. You don't see that. See, I mean, I don't expect the public to know the difference, but they, like they'll say, "Oh, Todd McFarlane is coming out with another Spawn." Interesting. I mean, so somebody's giving him like $100 million or 50 or $3 million to do a movie. Would you? This guy, he doesn't direct. I've never known of him to direct a movie. But does he mind the publicity? No. Whether he does and directs a new Spawn starring Jamie Foxx, great. I mean, all power to him. But I'm a little dubious. I'm going, does that sound like something like a talking point just to keep relevant, or is it really going to happen? All right, this has been like a year and a half already. You would think somebody would have broken ground. All right, well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, hey, it's fine either way. That's cool because I mean, he told me his concept about the Spawn movie he wants to do.
Can you say what that is?
And it was something about Spawn being a character that you don't see. He's just some mist.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden people are jacked up. Like,
good work.
Yeah. All power to you. Good luck with that. I don't understand it, but I'm not supposed to. Hey, this is not even my genre, so it's like cool.
It's not your character that you created.
Yeah, you do your thing, man.
Do your
thing. Hey, all power to you.
Well, you were in Mortal Kombat Legacy,
yeah,
which was, I guess, the prequel to the video game.
Yes,
that everyone's familiar with. Yeah. You were supposed to be in the first one.
I was supposed to be in the first and second Mortal Kombat movies.
But I guess you were doing Spawn at the time, and
one I did the Mike Tyson story that's shot at the same time, so I ended up doing the Mike Tyson story. And then the second one, Spawn was shooting at the same time.
Okay, so you ended up doing Mortal Kombat Legacy in 2011, and you played Jack Spriggs.
Yeah.
So kind of a superhero film in a way.
Yeah.
In a way.
A comic book kind of. I guess, something like that.
Video game, comic book.
Yeah.
Very, very cool character.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who grew up with the video game,
right?
These are very important characters.
Yeah.
How many of these films did they make altogether? Was it just 3?
I think they made 2 Mortal Kombat films. And the third one is in the works, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you in the next one or no?
No.
Okay. Mm-mm. Now, you were in Kill Bill 1 and 2, but you didn't actually make the final cut.
Yeah. I was supposed to be in a large segment of Kill Bill. It was a whole segment. You know how he'll start with, he'll name a segment. There was a segment called The House of Blue Leaves. And I was supposed to be a Hattori Hanzo sword-wielding guy who's running a casino. And it was so cool because he wears this white tux and he's got a sword. And it was going to be the entrance to Bill's character, is his this whole story that happens at this casino that ends up in this big fight. Quentin, while in China putting the movie together, had the idea of scrapping that and doing the massacre at the church as Bill's entrance to the movie, which I didn't disagree with. I thought it was a great idea, but it meant that he was going to scrap the House of Blue Leaves stuff. Quentin at the time was, we were very friendly. I mean, I considered him a friend. Actually, back in the day, I was contemplating the whole Black Dynamite thing with him.
I can see that.
Yeah, and so
right, because he did Jackie Brown.
Yeah, man.
Which is kind of along the same.
We're both nerds in that
fact,
genre.
In fact, Pulp Fiction was really based on blaxploitation films. Mm-hmm. That's why the dialogue is a certain type of way.
Yeah, well, Quentin is like, there's a lot of his influences that I know because I was kind of a nerd with that kind of stuff too. But man, that dude, his musical knowledge is ridiculous. That supersedes everything else to me. He's got an encyclopedic musical. You can't stump him too much with music. All kinds of music. But anyway, well. We were friendly. I agreed with his decision, but he called and said, "Hey, I still want you to do the fight scene." I'm like, "How's that gonna work?" And so, he wanted to do this thing where I'm leading these Chinese guys, and I'm as a kind of nod to Damo. Damo was a man that looked like me, who came to China and brought Buddhism. He's the father of Buddhism. He brought Buddhism to China, and he brought martial arts, brought kung fu. And so Quentin thought that was interesting to have this black man leading a team of kung fu guys. But he plays it as like a flashback. It ultimately didn't work in the movie. It was like, and also when we showed up to shoot the scene, he came up with handwritten dialogue on the back of it, because Quentin and I always joke around and we do those Chinese voices. Like I'm like, "Hey, I'll kill you. Who's your teacher?" We be doing that all the time.
Yeah.
And we do the, it's kung fu. It was no good. We're doing all that. And so he comes with his handwritten stuff. He says, "We're going to do that." I'm like, "Are you serious?" He said, "I want you to do that voice, you bastard." Doing that thing. I was like, how's that fit in this movie, right?
Like, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised that was on the additional footage. But I came to China. We had fun, and I got to hang out with Gordon Liu, Master Killer, all that, and it is what it is.
Well, Quentin is one of these massive talents. Like, he just has never really had a bad film. And the films that he does are so left field. And they still work.
Yeah.
Like, you look at Pulp Fiction, right? Which was a big hit when it came out. But then you look at like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that just came out. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I did see it.
Great film.
Yeah, not my favorite.
Not your favorite?
No, it's not my favorite.
I liked it. Then you see like The Hateful Eight, which really goes left at a certain point.
Yeah.
And then Django. Mm-hmm. And you have these. I feel like these films that he have these like iconic characters.
Yeah.
To this day, like whenever. Like, if you want to insult a black person, all you got to do is put up that, like, meme of, like, Samuel Jackson hugging up on Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, Nick Cannon and 50 Cent were beefing recently, and he, like, when 50 Cent was, like, standing up for Eminem, like, Nick Cannon would put up the Django. The Django meme was like, "Oh, okay.
That's hilarious.
I see what you're doing here."
That's funny as hell.
Yeah, man. That's too bad that you weren't in it. I think Kill Bill was a very good project, good film. Another one of his greats.
Hey, man, it's like, I'm super loyal friendship-wise. Like I say, I don't make friends easily. I consider Quentin a friend, and my thing is, I want the best movie for him. It's me. I don't. It's not about me. It's about the movie. So I thought that was a good decision. And when people say, "Man, they should have had you in that, they should have included that scene," I'm like, I don't think so. I don't see how that scene makes sense. Even when I shot it, I didn't think the scene made sense in the movie. So I'm not surprised that it's. I'm not about like just me. I'm not. I never will be that way.
Well, you were in Tyler Perry's "Why Did I Get Married Too?"
And Why did I get married and why did I get married?
Oh, both of them. Okay.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
But Janet Jackson was in Why Did I Get Married Too, right?
Both.
Oh, she was in both? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Which movie was it when you guys were filming and then Michael Jackson's death got announced?
Yeah, that was Why Did I Get Married Too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that. Mm-hmm. So here you are, you're filming this movie with Janet Jackson. Mm-hmm. Michael Jackson is still the most famous person on earth since Jesus Christ.
He's the most famous person who ever walked the planet. I don't think there's any argument to that. Because, think about the Muslim world doesn't know Jesus Christ. And there's
the
Chinese
Muslim
people
world,
that don't,
the Muslim world have heard of Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh.
I think most Muslims have heard of Jesus Christ.
No, yeah. Well, it's kind of like from...
Most Jews have heard of Jesus Christ.
Well,
Jesus
of course,
Christ has excellent marketing, let me tell you.
Yeah, but, there's but it's from around the world... I don't know.
Let's put it like this.
Yeah.
He's the most famous person ever photographed.
You're talking about
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the most famous person who's ever been photographed.
But when you think about this, just for sake of argument, everybody from 5 to 95 knew who Michael Jackson was. Everybody.
Yeah.
No matter where you were. Mm-hmm. Now, are there 5-year-olds in other countries that don't know who Jesus Christ is?
I can see an
You
argument.
know what I mean? Yeah, so
I can see an argument.
So to me, that Michael Jackson was the most famous person who ever walked the planet.
So here you are doing a film with his sister, and out of nowhere, let me just look up how old Michael Jackson was. I think I know. I just want to double
50?
check.
Was he at the time?
50 years old.
Yeah.
Very young. Out of nowhere, he basically overdoses and dies.
Yeah.
I don't know how close the relationship was between Janet and Michael. Mm-hmm. They didn't collaborate a lot. They had that one song, Scream, together. Mm-hmm. Michael seemed like he kind of was off to himself for a very long time. Mm-hmm. But that's still your brother.
Yeah.
That's still the person you grew up with. This is someone who you look up to, admire. When the news hit, what happened with Janet?
Well, I don't know directly what happened with her. I knew because Tyler was pretty much fielding things, and he was very sensitive to how she wanted to proceed, and then her decision was to work, to move on, and we were going to do Tyler was going to do everything he could to just kind of make it as comfortable for her. We shot in a kind of more of an obscure island setting and tried to keep it quiet, but that didn't necessarily work out.
Did she cry at all? Did she?
I don't know. I'm not close to Janet, but you speculate that. I mean, I was in a scene with her where she tears the room apart, which didn't seem like acting at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a loss. Quite a loss. It's
Yeah.
kind of too bad. Michael was, you could say that you can't get too famous. Michael, I think, was just too famous. He could not walk outside. He could not live any sort of regular life. He had to and then once all the Leaving Neverland type stuff started coming out, he just became a hermit and off to himself.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I met him one time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And I'm not proud of myself, but he was making a presentation to the president of Ghana at the time, Jerry Rawlings. And so he was seated at my table, and he was going to be there because that gave him the entrance point to where he goes up on the stage or whatever. So he was sitting there right beside me, and I don't know if there's a word for this where you make eye contact and you just go, and you don't know what to say. But I'd be damned, everything I could think about saying, I couldn't say because it was just like the wrong shit was all running through my head. Giraffes and all that. And so I'm like,
Monkeys.
but I couldn't think of one. It was sad for me because I think of, okay, here's another human being. I don't know how to say, I don't know what links us, like the identify, you know what I mean? It was just this weird thing. And plus I'm like, okay, if I got nothing to say, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna just, but I really wanted, he seemed very open and nice, but I feel like there was like, I didn't know how to relate to the cat.
Well, you knew Rick James.
Oh, I knew Rick James well. Rick James was one of the funniest people I ever met in my life. That dude, not just because he's Rick James was hilarious.
What was the craziest thing you've seen Rick James do?
He's just like, I mean, I think he can go, he's the type of person I felt like he can go on stage and just be himself and crack everybody the hell up. Because he was quick-witted, he was really, really bright. This is probably something I'm gonna regret saying. I think Dave Chappelle killed him.
What do you mean?
I said it.
From the skits?
Yeah. I mean, that Dave Chappelle didn't kill him, but the newfound notoriety did. Because I mean, when Rick got out, real close friend of ours.
Because Rick was in prison for a while. Mm-hmm. I think for drugs.
Yeah. Yes. I forget what.
I read his book. I read his autobiography. It was drugs. Was it domestic violence? Maybe.
Yeah, it was some.
It was a bunch of crazy, drugged out Rick James type shit.
But yeah, we had a mutual friend, a guy named Lanny Ross, just a beautiful person, banker. He personally was like the exit. What do you call it? Like a when someone's just kind of I forget what the word is.
Concierge?
No, not a conservator or something like that. Well, he basically monitored or just kind of took care of Rick when he got out.
Handler?
No, it's another word, like, because when folks have issues with drugs and what have you, they will. It's something like conservator. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's something like that. But Lanny made sure he was handling Rick's affairs, and Rick was really, I mean, Lanny was like kind of big brother to all of us, really. And then Rick got on his feet, got the house in Chatsworth. We would chill. We'd have we had this little thing going on. Rick would have a pool, and he had a pool table, right? And some, there's NBA guys and they would come over there and try to bet. Now, I used to be a competitive. I used to do tournaments. I was
in pool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of back in the day. It was financial aid for me.
I bet.
And so, I mean, I was in snooker championships and different. And so, Rick would like sneak away and secretly call me, and I'd come by the house and act like, oh, you guys playing pool, whatever, it's that kind of thing. We just, so there's a few people I can say sorry to right now, but we kind of hooked it up. But yeah, man. But Rick was doing well. He was doing the venues, like the House of Blues type of things, those mid-level type of things like that. He was cool. He was healthy. And then Rick James bitch came out.
Well, he was already pretty heavy. He came out of prison pretty fat.
No,
this was not the Rick James.
I'm talking about
super freak Rick James.
I'm talking about healthy inside.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm just talking about doing the right things, staying sober, that kind of a thing.
Okay.
And then that skit came. And then Rick was at every red carpet, and you just heard him. I'm Rick James, bitch. Like, oh, there's Rick. And, oh, man, Rick he's partying again. And it's one of those things. You call Lanny, what's up, man? We're trying, BT, who's another friend of ours. And, we all pool together and just try to talk about this stuff. And then it's like he just was, now his relevance was with a younger crowd again. It's like, and so those demons came back.
Oh yeah, no, I read his book, and he would just basically go into his room, black out all the windows, and like smoke crack for like 3 days straight. He was a heavy, heavy drug addict.
Yeah, he came back to that because I mean, like I remember I was visiting somebody in Oakwood Apartments. Found out Rick had a secret
A little spot.
spot in there, and that's where he was doing his thing. And that was really close to the end.
Yeah, but he died at 56. He was this was 2004, and I
That was
remember
a talented dude, man. People don't realize that he was in Life, the movie with Eddie Murphy.
Huh? Okay.
He was the bad guy. He was that good of an actor. This dude was bright. He was the gangster that was after them. People don't even realize that's Rick James because you just think that is a professional actor.
Spanky Johnson.
Yes, that's Rick James. Watch that movie again.
Oh shit.
You see what I'm talking about.
I'm watching it right now.
Yeah. You don't even recognize that as Rick James.
I do not recognize. This is a regular light-skinned dude with his hair greased back and
light-skinned gangster dude, right?
Rick James.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Rick was I'm
My
telling
head's
you,
blown right
Rick,
now. I had no
Rick
idea.
Was sharp. That dude was super talented.
Well,
And incidentally, he was always talking to me about playing him. He wanted,
wanted you to
He's
play
like,
it too.
he would talk to me. Yeah. I was yoked up too, man. Hey, show him the picture of me when I was, because he felt like he had some muscles and stuff. And I was like, I can't play you, man.
Well, I remember I interviewed Charlie Murphy right around about 2000, because Rick James died in 2004. I think this is shortly after he died, maybe 2008 or something like that. And, I said, it's just sad that he started to get hot again and then he died. And he goes, well, Charlie obviously knew Rick very well.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I think that's the way Rick would have wanted it. Rick wanted to be back in the limelight again.
Yeah,
He wanted that fame again, and he got it before he passed. If he was just the guy doing House of Blues shows every so often, doing his old hits, it would not have been.
I don't agree with that because Rick seemed like he was happy when he was doing that, unless he showed a miserable side some other way. But I felt like he was doing well. He and Tina would do things together, and Tina was also real cool.
Tina Turner?
Tina Marie.
Tina Marie. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. He seemed like he was doing well to me.
Well, in our last interview, the biggest clip that reacted, which is at almost 2 million views, was the part about you talking about Bruce Lee. It's kind of ironic also, and I just thought about this, how in, your friend Quentin Tarantino, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there was a scene where you see Brad Pitt's character basically beating up Bruce Lee, like kicking him into a car. Heard Bruce Lee's family was pretty upset over that.
I can see. Yeah, that painted him to be an asshole.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, that's an issue I had with that movie. Because what to me spoke loud was that, what I've heard was that Quentin was going to use either Bruce Lee or Jim Brown for that character to beat up. If that was Jim Brown...
That would have been realistic. Jim Brown would have beaten up Brad Pitt in real life.
I'd be pretty damn pissed off about it because Jim.
Jim is still alive.
I don't know. I got my issues with that whole Bruce Lee or Jim Brown thing. Why? Just really why?
Right, because in the movie, Bruce Lee said that he could beat Muhammad Ali, and that's when.
I don't believe it. Well, was he written saying that?
Well, that was in the movie.
But I can't imagine.
Yeah, no,
Bruce
I don't.
Lee saying
I don't
that
think.
he could beat Muhammad Ali.
Think he said that. Muhammad Ali was what, 6'2", 250.
This is my argument. I'm sorry. That's just, but when you
a professional fighter on top of that.
Yeah, when you're talking to people who Bruce Lee's. I idolize Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
I idolize Bruce Lee too. Like, but still, there's reality. There's real fighters who bleed and feed their families. I'm not gonna say Bruce Lee is on the level of a real fighter. Like, that's not what he does.
Did Bruce Lee ever fight like in tournaments?
No.
Actual events where someone is trying to hurt you, as opposed to movies.
No,
where it's all make believe.
When you don't, if your skill set is not fighting, a professional fighter can be rusty, right? The reflexes. If you've never done it and you're fighting a professional fighter, you're way out of your depth.
Yeah.
It's just. But to try to explain that to people who are non-fighters and just sycophants, it's like you're wasting your time. But never in the history. Okay, movies are made up of little guys beating up big guys, but that's in a movie. That's in a movie. There's no guy that's 100 pounds lighter, Bruce Lee being 132, 135, beating a guy that's 220 pounds, who is a professional assassin. That's ridiculous. Even if you got a guy at 135 and fighting a guy that's 160, that is a massive, massive imbalance. That almost never happens. That's unfair. That's why we have weight classes. That's unfair.
Yeah.
And so 100 pounds more is insane.
Yeah. Remember when MMA first started, when UFC first started, there was no weight classes.
Right.
And it was like a shit show.
Exactly. But yeah, but it was a little manipulated. The UFC stuff is manipulated. You got a guy with a gi who can use it as, he can choke someone. And then the people that he was fighting over there, they were not the top of the line fighters.
Right. But in our last interview, you said that you could beat Bruce Lee just because of the weight difference and so forth, and everyone got upset.
I wish I didn't say that. This is, that's silly of me to. That's my hero as well. But it's like, come on, he's 132. Stop. It's kind of like, I shouldn't have said that. I should have said Bruce Lee. It would have been hard for him to beat anybody over 150, because when you. A 132-pound person, it's hard for them to even hurt somebody 150.
Well, okay. If you take away the weight class, the weight difference, you being a professional fighter, and you have black belts in 8 different martial arts. You have championships, the U.S. Open and everything else like that. When you look at Bruce Lee on camera and you see him doing his fight moves and everything else like that, would you say that Bruce Lee is a strong fighter if you were to put him into an actual match, or is it all theatrics?
I would say he would look great. He is the best physically. Like there's nobody near him in films. But if he were to fight a fighter equal weight and size, it'd be hard for him to do that because that's not his skill set. Fighters get hit in the face by other, guys that are 130 and under, you really see knockouts very much. It's because their skulls can withstand another 130-pound guy hitting them. It's the heavyweights that can't take too many blows from each other. Yeah. But so 2 guys, equal weight, trading blows, it's very difficult for a non-fighter to defeat a fighter who's used to getting hit in the face and walking through it. It's not beauty. It's not a beauty contest. It's being effective. So, if I'm talking about professional fighting, it would be amazing if someone like Bruce Lee, who theoretically fought a actual fighter and beat them. That would be one of the most amazing things. That would be one of the most amazing things that would ever have happened, because that's never happened.
Right, because there's been a number of professional fighters that transitioned into movies.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. If you start early on, I mean, Van Damme.
He's not a Van Damme was never a professional fighter.
Van Damme was never a professional fighter?
No.
He just could do the splits.
No. I'm sorry. No,
Van Damme was never a fighder.
No, he was never a fighter. No.
Oh, okay. My bad.
No. I mean,
Sorry.
He sparred.
You guys know each other.
He and I sparred before.
Yeah.
He and I sparred on the set of Universal Soldier, the first
Soldier,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, but no, he's not a. No. There are some people. The number one guy that is transitioned from actual fighting and actually made one of the greatest fight scenes in movie history is Benny Urquidez. There's nobody in his sphere. Benny Urquidez with the fight on Mills on Wheels with Jackie Chan. Benny Urquidez is an undefeated kickboxer, real fighter, and did one of the greatest movie fights ever. I don't know anybody who could top that. And Benny Urquidez is also one of my instructors.
I mean, Randy Couture, he did some acting.
Yeah. Randy's a real fighter.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm talking about that's gone. Randy's a friend, and I just directed him in the movie. He's in Outlaw.
But he's not a regular actor. He's done some acting.
No, he's a real ass fighter, of course.
Fighter,
and he's
but not
an actor. No, he's an actor now.
Has he done a bunch of films, or?
Randy's probably been in 15 movies, I would think.
Okay, there you go.
By now, yeah.
Well, after our interview, I interviewed Ty Mok, who was the lead actor in The Last Dragon, and I brought up the whole Bruce Lee, Michael Jai White thing.
Yeah.
And he had sort of an interesting answer.
I don't care about weight, I seen cats that are different weight classes like that knock out big guys, So that has nothing to do with it. Weight has nothing to do with it. If you trust me, there's some guys 5'6", 140 pounds kick you in your nuts. Good night.
Oh yeah. He's supposed to answer that way.
I'll go ahead and play it now.
Yeah. He's supposed to answer that way.
Yeah, and he basically, I guess, didn't like your answer all that much.
He shouldn't. I don't like my answer. Dude, I don't like my answer. That's the thing. I should have shut the hell up. I shouldn't have said that. And it's like I'm saying, I'm talking shit about my own hero, but the way I'm speaking about it is because of my respect for real fighters. I'm sorry. I have too much respect for real fighters, right? Real fighters who put bread on their table, bleeding and fighting and making that sacrifice, than to call even myself or another actor to give them those same accolades. I'm not a professional fighter. I can fight. I get in the ring with anybody. That's the truth. There's no professional fighter that I won't get in the ring with.
Right, but you do not pay your bills through fighting.
I do not pay my bills through fighting. So I can't call myself a
You
fighter.
pay your bills
But
acting like you're fighting.
Exactly.
In movies.
I pay my bills acting like I'm
Which is
fighting.
not an insult.
Yeah,
it's a compliment.
Yeah, but
your job is a whole lot better than theirs.
And also, to be completely honest with myself, dude, I was born with a gift. Okay, I don't know many fighters that are heavyweights that are as fast as me. If people hit me the way I've hit people, I don't know if I would stand for that. You know what I mean? I don't know how much heart I would have to, I give my heart goes out to people who get their ass kicked, rise, get their ass kicked, rise, and keep going. I don't know if I would have had that. Like John Jones, like Conor McGregor, I had physical gifts that I used to my advantage. And Conor, I have all the respect for that dude in the world because he will fight, get beat, and come back, He has physical gifts. There are some people who are just gifted. They're a little faster than other people, like, say, Anderson Silva. When that started to dissipate, and you don't see him, you saw that maybe wasn't willing to trade very much, right? I don't know if I would be of that variety to where I'm, my physical gifts are slowing down and I'm going to still keep with it. You know what I mean? So, but my heart goes out to people who fight, who really fight, and I can't give an actor the same accolades as people who fight for a living.
Well, I recently interviewed Tito Ortiz, who recently had a fight that he won against a WWE guy.
Right.
And one of the most fascinating things to me during that interview was he started to break down all of the operations.
And it's hard, and the bodies can't take that much damage. I mean, I've had 8 surgeries myself through my career. I've had ACL replaced my left knee, ACL replaced my right knee, 50% of my meniscus taken on my right knee, L4-5, S1 fused in my lower back, T3, T2, T2, T1, T1, C7 disc replacement, C7, C6 fuse, C6, C5 fuse, C5, C4 disc replacement, and a reattached retina, and probably about maybe 10 to 12 concussions. And, that's probably about as much damage as I sustained, but I continue to do it because I love it.
And broken bones and concussions that he had. And it was like the longest laundry list I've ever heard. This guy's been destroying his body for decades.
Yeah.
Decades. The fact that he's walking around to me is like just kind of amazing to me. It almost reminded me of what was that movie? The Wrestler? With Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke, yeah.
Where he was, he would go to like that convention and then he'd look over and like all these other guys would have like prosthetic legs and like they were just all messed up. And I think you talked about in one of these interviews about how you're glad you never went into MMA full time because all the guys that you know who are retired now are just physically in very bad shape.
Yeah, I mean, there's not one former champion in boxing, MMA, that I want to trade places with.
Mayweather?
Eh.
I didn't think of that one, huh? Mayweather.
I stand corrected.
You stand corrected. I just found a flaw in your theory.
Well, definitely not MMA. Put it that way.
Yeah, Mayweather, who's a relatively light guy.
Yeah.
Got $1 billion.
Good point.
Never lost. Never took any real damage.
Yeah, man. But my God, I wish fighters really need to like really study Mayweather.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people don't. I don't understand it. It's like everybody should be yearning to fight that way.
That was so funny. You were like, didn't think of him.
Yeah. But is anybody in MMA, like UFC or whatever, no, there's nobody I would want to trade places with. And you have a season where you're known, and then the rest of your life you have to live. And your health is the most important thing ever. And again, why my heart goes out to so many fighters, because they put themselves on the line for, their livelihood, but for entertainment as well.
Well, it's all entertainment.
Yeah, but you think about it. Do you know how many fighters I've cast in movies because I respect them so damn much? I'm probably on 25 of them. I mean, from UFC and from just a lot of them, because I don't know, they're heroes to me. And my heart always goes out to them, and that's why I want to help and I want to train. I enjoy, I've been training with like champion fighters since I was 17. It's not a thing about, they take it easy on me because I'm known or whatever. It's never been that. I've been doing that. Like, I've trained with Bill Wallace. I was his sparring partner when I was 17 years old. And then Joe Louis, the karate Joe Louis, been your kid, all this stuff. I've been in the trenches with fighters my whole life, and even boxers. I'm training with people like, Frankie Lyles is my best friend, and in the camps, and I love fighting. You know, that's just me. I was with Glover Teixeira last night because I happened to be in Connecticut, and I veered away and to go, work out, do some stuff with him because I had a couple hours or whatever. And it's the thing that I've done the best. Actually, it's probably my best skill in my entire life. And I've gotten a chance. I've been one of the luckiest martial artists and fighters ever because I've gotten a chance to work out with the best of the best over years and steal from them, And it's just such an enjoyment so I can like help out other people and learn from them and steal from them as well. It's just something that I'm just into, and it's pure. It's not for any kind of, I don't know, for awards or money or whatever, but it's because I love to learn and I love to do the art.
Well, aren't you supposed to do an MMA fight coming up?
Me?
Yeah.
No. No, you might have been thinking about the 30-man fight that I was doing. Like I'm in one of my styles is called Kyokushin, and it's kind of like the Navy SEALs of martial arts. And being in that style, you have to be pretty damn resilient. It's hard. You get broken bones in it. It's bare fist.
Oh.
Yeah, and so what it is, it tests your will. And that's the most important thing is your will. To complete anything, you got to have a strong will, and that's what it's about. Even though, you see my body is a byproduct of what I've put my will through. You know what I mean? People think about it from the outside in, but it's actually from the inside out. And that will that says, you will not stop me. I will overcome all obstacles. That's the important thing about martial arts. That's what makes you dangerous is your will, not just the skills, but the thing that's driving that skill is to say, you will not stop me. I will go through you. You cannot win. And that's a strength of will. But you apply that to your life and say, this obstacle, you will not stop me. Mm-hmm. I will get past you. You will not win. So that's really what the contribution is. And so I love it because my opponent is another obstacle. The biggest obstacle is me, because I have to overcome that opponent. And I bow to him because he allows me to become better. That's what it's about. Thank you for helping me in my will to become stronger by providing an obstacle.
Well, just recently, Colby Covington, the MAGA hat wearing MMA fighter, had a match that just didn't go too well.
Right.
Got his jaw broken. Mm-hmm. And you actually know him.
I don't know Covington.
No?
No, I don't know him. No, I do not know Colby
at all?
Covington. No, I met him.
You met
briefly.
him. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
So you met him.
Yeah, briefly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enough to make me think that this is a kind of a ploy, the whole MAGA thing or whatever. Because it's like, I see you're playing a role. He may be an asshole. He seems like it. But I think he aligned with the MAGA thing to kind of play the heel. That's my opinion.
Yeah. That was quite a punch, though, man. You saw his jaw just.
Yeah, man, he did himself a disservice because he fought his damn ass off and he left the ring. He should have stayed in there and got those accolades. That
so
dude,
you could keep fighting with a broken jaw?
He fought with a broken jaw, right? He fought with a broken jaw and fought his ass off too. But then was too stupid to stay in there and just be, come on, just have some damn integrity. Stay in there. Fact is, the people who like you could applaud your effort because you fought with a broken jaw and you fought your ass off. you could have said, hey, I gave it my best shot, whatever, and you would have won millions of fans.
But
you
instead,
but so that makes me think, yeah, you are an asshole. You're a big asshole. You don't even see that. You know, it's like, dude, you now we can't even give you credit for what you just did. I'm not a fan of the dude, but hey, it is what it is. He put up a good fight. A lot of people would have crumbled.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people would have crumbled. And then, you know, he wanted to get, you know, use excuses and say that it was the ref. Oh, come on, man. Come on. We saw you.
Did the ref break your jaw too?
Yeah. We saw what happened. Like, so I don't know. That dude does himself a disservice. Not smart.
Well, when you did the interview with Logan Paul, you basically destroyed all my past, you know, dreams and everything when you actually broke down that Shaolin monks are not what everyone thought they are. You know, here I am. I grew up in the age of seeing these, you know, Chinese movies with the Shaolin monks beating everyone up, and these movies where they're breaking 20 blocks of ice with their head. And I mean, in fact, Kung Fu, David Carradine, Kung Fu, he was a Shaolin monk, right?
Yes.
On that show. So here I am. I grew up worshiping Shaolin monks, thinking that these are the epitome of the most advanced fighters on earth.
Yeah.
And then, you know, of course, Wu-Tang comes out, and, you know, they further kind of build on the Shaolin legend.
Right, yeah.
And you're like, yo, the Shaolin, like, you know, to me, my whole life was like, yo, the Shaolin monks could beat Mike Tyson, could beat all the MMA fighters.
It's hilarious, actually.
They're superhuman, but in fact, there's sort of a different story about the Shaolin temples.
This is the truth. It's like, you know, you can Google this shit. It's that easy. Guy that my complexion came in to the Shaolin temple, brought Kung Fu, you know, 18 Hands of Lohan. What is it first called? But anyway, you know, martial arts dates way back over 1500 BC in Africa. Plain and simple. You could Google that real quick. But you know, Bodhidharma or Damo brought Kung Fu to the Shaolin Temple. They were sedentary. This was an exercise. And he also brought Buddhism. Well, that's fact number one. But what happened when China got into the film, you know, process, you know, the film industry, well, at the time, we had Westerns were America's export. Japan had the samurai movies, right? And there were always samurai movies, there's always Westerns. And you see, with the samurai movies, there were times where the samurai got overtaken by technology. There's guns and no more samurai. Last samurai, you know what I mean?
Starring Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and right, which is okay. Don't get me started on that. But then there's Westerns where, you know, there's people now, you know, with horseless buggies. You know, you see the transition that happens. Now, China countered with the Kung Fu movie, the Shaolin monks. Who are we going to make our heroes? So they went back 400 years to kind of, you know, popularize the Shaolin monks. They could have chosen Tibetan monks. They could have been. It just happened to be the Shaolin monks. Shaolin was from a mountain, you know, in China. But it's so they then made those their superheroes. That's why. But the Shaolin monks, the Shaolin temple was burned down like 400 years ago. The end, right? That's why you don't see Shaolin monks in a car or Shaolin monks in a gun. You don't see any, because every one of those movies started way back then.
Right.
So the truth of the matter is the Shaolin temple gone, right? Then in '83, because it was opened up to Westerners, everybody kept going, hey, where's the Shaolin Temple? And they're like, Chinese people's like, there's no Shaolin Temple. That shit burned down 400 years ago. But then they reconstructed a replica in 83, and around 85 they had, right around later in 83 they had like townsfolk dressed as Shaolin monks for tourism, and around 85 they started having actual kung fu people portray the Shaolin monks. But then Westerners kept coming in there going, we want to learn from the Shaolin monks. And it's like, okay, pay here. You know what I mean? So they started teaching these people, and these people were no connected to the Shaolin monks. That's like the equivalent of saying, you were taught by a Shaolin monk is the equivalent of saying, I was taught by a knight of the round table. Same time period, right? You know how ridiculous that would sound. These new people have nothing to do with the Shaolin monks that were destroyed a long time ago. This was something that was resurrected later.
In the 80s.
Right, and every Shaolin monk you ever seen in the this is hilarious because there's a tour of the Shaolin monks, right?
I'm actually looking right now. The Shaolin monks celebrate 10 years of touring.
Right, there's these tours.
This was last year.
Yeah, of the Shaolin monks, right? No, but here's what's
so these are not actual Shaolin monks, huh?
No, of course not. It's like tour of the Knights of the Round Table. Like, so the Shaolin monks, right, that are touring. The funny thing is, historically, everybody you saw playing a Shaolin monk in the movies, like the Jet Lis and all that, they usually were people from the Beijing Wushu team. Beijing Wushu team is basically like the all-star team, where all around China, there's all these different Wushu factions that are competing, but the Beijing Wushu team is the number one. Basically, like Menudo or whatever, they're getting children who have the best technique all around all of China, and the best of the best go to the Shaolin. Go to the Beijing Wushu team. So usually, usually, when they get to the late 20s, they're gone. They become coaches or whatever, or they go into the movies. This is what always has happened.
So Jet Li came out of that.
Yeah, he was a Beijing Wushu team member. He was a really great competitor from the Beijing Wushu team.
Would you say that, because we talked about this earlier, actual fighters who became actors?
He's not a fighter.
No, he's more of
an
like an acrobat kind of?
No, yeah. Jet Li knows more martial arts than anybody you've ever seen on film.
Okay.
That dude, if we want to compare it to, like, say, gymnastics, think about this. Jet Li is not only the tumbling champion, but the rings champion, and like he won. He is so good with like Bagwaza, and I know I'm gonna get too deep with this stuff, but Jet Li knows so many styles within the Kung Fu system and has won national world titles doing several different styles, which is unusual for one individual to have it. But
it's not fighting though.
It's not fighting. He'd tell you himself he wouldn't know how to fight anybody.
Right.
It's like
same thing with Jackie Chan.
Yeah, but Jackie Chan probably would be able to fight a little bit, because Jackie Chan's style, he's a little rougher. He comes from a stunt person background. He's a stunt man.
Yeah.
But and there's things about Jackie Chan that I would say he probably would be able to fight pretty damn good. Because of his timing and stuff. But Jet Li is classically trained. It's different. But and Jackie Chan's not a little dude either.
Huh, I never met him.
No, Jackie Chan's not a little dude,
he's
man.
Big.
Jackie Chan is unfreaking believable. He's unbelievable. And I'll say something else that's controversial.
He's 5'9".
Yeah, but Jackie Chan is not a small guy. He's durable.
160 pounds.
Yeah, maybe it was a long time ago. Yeah.
Gained some weight since then.
Yeah, but
Rush Hour movies.
that's a tough dude. Jackie Chan is a tough individual. Okay. But like, I'm going to say this, right? If you, to try to put, give him his due. If you, and I almost want to do this experiment one day. If you switch the faces of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, you take a retrospective of Jackie Chan's best fight stuff, but give him Bruce Lee's face, which is meaning a very serious look, I'm going to whoop your ass look. And you put Jackie Chan's face on Bruce Lee's best stuff, right? It will be interesting. Because when you think of Jackie Chan, because of his
he's
way,
kind of silly, funny,
whatever.
Yeah.
If he was like, I'm kicking your ass. If you just imagine Jackie Chan with a serious face and doing the things that he's done.
Yeah.
Right?
I can see where you're going with this.
See a regular fight scene with Jackie Chan, flipping around, going through a ladder, using that ladder, doing all this type of stuff, and he was kicking your ass like dead serious. You might say, there's no way in hell Bruce Lee could do that.
So you would say that Jackie Chan is a better, what would you say, martial artist than Bruce Lee?
No, I would never say anybody's a better martial artist than Bruce Lee. Because
really
he's an embodiment of what martial arts is about. Wouldn't say that. What I'm talking about, I'm talking about who is the better martial arts fighting movie star. That whole thing. It'd be interesting because the thing is that it's so sad is that people don't realize what Jackie Chan does because he's being silly. It's never been anybody on that level.
Yeah, I mean, because he
It's
does his
just
own
unfreaking
he does his
believable.
own stunts.
Not only that, but how meticulous and what he's done, it's almost sad that he doesn't get the nod as the best martial arts fighter on film ever.
So you would say that'd be Jackie Chan over everyone else, including yourself.
Come on, I ain't nowhere near that. Come on, man. Shoot, my fight scenes have to be done in like a matter of hours. Like Jackie, almost everybody's fight scenes, one fight scene they'll shoot for an entire week. I don't have that luxury. My fight scenes will look pretty bad. I wish I had a week to do a damn fight scene, do one fight scene. But not saying I'm better. No, Jackie Chan's way freaking better. Come on, Bruce Lee's way better. Come on, stop it. I mean, if they had to fight me, they're in trouble. Because I've done it. But but Jackie Chan, it's just like, I know Bruce Lee's number one, right? Because you want to vicariously be him. He made a noise. What? He made a noise that nobody else has made, but that noise is the embodiment of all martial arts.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about how powerful that is.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's that dominant in any of their arts or sports than what he did and what the magnetism he has and everything else. Okay, that's that. But then Jackie Chan, what he will do on screen, what he's able to do, that should have its own category because it's just when you look at both and you go, if you put Bruce Lee's head on that, you'd be like, the game is over.
Well, you also broke down how ninjas aren't really what people think they are.
No, yeah, that's another.
And people love ninjas. There is no male over the age of 4 that did not want to be a ninja at some point in their lives.
It captures the imagination.
You wanted to be a ninja. I could guarantee you.
No,
yes, you did. You wanted to be a ninja at some point.
No, I'm too inside the
I wanted to be a ninja. Let me say.
But here's the weird thing.
I had throwing stars as a kid.
Do you know to be a ninja was basically, okay, you had samurais, right? Mm-hmm. Say a lord would go, I want you to be a ninja and go do this. That's what a ninja was. You covered your. They didn't know a different type of art. They knew the same art that everybody else did.
Right. So a ninja is basically a samurai with black clothes on.
Yeah, basically, it's a hired assassin. I hire you to do this, so you have a nondescript sword, and you cover yourself so people don't know who you are. So that's really what it came to. But it got the band of ninjas is a band of, hey man, put a knapsack on and go do this heist. That's really what it is. It's not like some god ninja comes down and teaches you the art of just a different art all of a sudden.
Oh yeah,
it's just the same. They knew the same stuff, man.
Right, because you see movies like like Daredevil, like the TV series, and The Hand is this crew of international ninjas that it got so romanticized throughout history.
Hollywood,
and like I said, as a kid, I remember in junior high, I ordered some ninja stars. It was a thing. Everyone wanted to be a ninja.
Yeah. It's
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Who are they fighting the whole time? Right. Ninjas.
Right. But, it's
even the name is cool, ninja.
Absolutely. Ain't no argument.
Great marketing.
But they weren't. It's not. But the fantasy about them is it exceeds what the reality was.
Yep.
That's just like with kung fu. I mean, it's because of that damn series that kung fu was so popular in that whole Shaolin Temple,
which was supposed to be Bruce Lee's series, but he looked too Asian.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they found a half Asian guy who ended up dying from masturbating later on. But well, you were in a movie with him. He was in Kill Bill.
Yeah, they was a friend of mine too.
Oh, was he? Well, sorry to insult you, but
well, I mean,
it is what it is. That's how he died.
I don't know. I don't know how that happened. I really didn't get deep into how can I'm tiptoeing around words right now. Like, I don't want to say anything that's like cause for pause, but
he died the way he died. I mean, it was real news. Mm-hmm. Self asphyxiation, masturbation, something, and things went wrong, and they found him in a hotel room like that.
Yeah, I guess but he passed away the same way Richard Pryor's dad passed away.
Wait, Richard Pryor's dad?
Yeah,
died like that?
Yeah, he said, Richard famously said he came and went at the same time. I'm going to hell.
Well, we're in a very interesting time right now with the whole Me Too movement.
Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr. now has 22 women accusing him of sexual misconduct.
Seriously? 22 women?
22.
Okay.
And, for example, I interviewed Lunel. She's a regular guest on my show.
She's not one of the 22.
She is not one of them.
Okay.
At least not on camera. Okay. But she said flat out, hey, Cuba gets drunk a lot, and he gets kind of handsy with the women.
Yeah.
And, a lot of women like it. He is still Cuba Gooding Jr., and he's an Oscar winner, and he's a, good-looking guy, and he's probably been in some movies they liked.
Yeah.
But he has a reputation for this type of thing.
He is, yes, it's no secret around Hollywood that Cuba likes the ladies, He likes to drink a little bit, and he liked the ladies. I don't know if he's inappropriate though. If he's going up under chicks' skirts, grabbing and doing like your president, grabbing them in the pussy, shit like that.
Do you know Cuba at all?
Absolutely.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about all this?
I'm not surprised too much, but Cuba's a wild boy. Like. That's never been hidden. His nickname that he would tell everybody is butt naked.
What? I never knew about this.
No, you can Google that. Cuba said that himself. Because he gets naked. Like, for 20 years, he just would drop trowel in public.
He would expose himself.
Yeah, he did that a lot. He's just, he's a wild guy that way.
Okay.
He was, he calls himself that, right? So so that's something that nowadays is completely frowned upon, of course. So I'm not. When I say I'm not surprised, it's not because he's a lecherous person. I just think people are just they're on a witch hunt for it to some degree. Who knows? Yeah, he might. Who knows? He may have crossed the line. I've never been drunk a day in my life. I know that your inhibitions are gone, and if he's kind of wild anyway. He drops his draws just.
So
I just think
Wait, so
yeah,
hold on.
Yeah.
I just want to. I've never even heard about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I'm looking on E Online. Cuba Gooding Jr. drops his shorts.
Yeah. What year is that?
This was 2014.
No, come on. He's been doing that for a
Well,
long time.
this is just one article that just came up during a Google
yeah.
search.
So yeah.
So wait, have you been around him when he just suddenly just dropped his pants? I'm asking this question in the most heterosexual way possible right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not. No. But no, I know him to do that in public. That's the whole thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But at the time, it wasn't. It was just, oh, look how crazy Cuba is. Like he's on that shit. He's wild. I was at a bachelor party that he given, and I had to leave. I'm not freaking like none of this. But I'm a little, but but just that was Cuba. That's part of just how he was fun that way. You see it. I mean, his gregarious kind of character. That's part of him. That's what you see in Jerry Maguire. That's why he was so good in that.
Show me the money.
Yeah. That's him. He's unhinged that way.
Well, yeah.
But so I'm not surprised that people can go, oh, wait, he did this back in the day. Yeah, no, there was no complaints of it back then. I don't know if he's gone over the line with people. I don't know anything about that. I don't know nothing about these 22 people. But I just know he was just always the life of the party that way.
Well, yeah, remember there was the picture of him with the KFC bucket on his head?
Not surprised.
You've never seen this?
No, I haven't. But
Hold on a second. This was at the 2017 Golden Globes party.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Why?
There's cameras around.
Well, yeah, I know there's alcohol around, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I've never seen that picture.
You've never seen that picture?
No, I haven't.
Well, it's not Photoshop. I can tell you that.
I'm not, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would expect that, without me even knowing, I would think that these 22 people were probably people from a while back.
Well, I mean, most recently it started with something relatively recent, right? You see him on camera with talking to a couple of women, then you see him kind of reach across, and then they're saying that was when he touched someone inappropriately or something. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't look like an actual sexual assault.
Yeah, I didn't.
From my point of view, but these days, you get into this whole gray area thing, and it's enough to file a lawsuit. And I'm not saying that he did or didn't do it. If I were to guess, I would say the majority of the women are probably doing a money grab.
Maybe.
I were to guess, maybe some of them are actually true. When there's smoke, there's usually fire.
I didn't know anything about the drugging thing, or I didn't know anything about that. But I did know about, if you just think about this, like I had two situations, right, where when I was auditioning back in the day, I was in New York, I had two callbacks for the Cosby Show. When you do well, they put you in a van and they take you to Queens, to Silver Cup Studios, where they shoot the show, and you have to audition in front of Mr. Cosby and the executives. All right, so there's a van of us, and there's a lot of girls going to play his TV daughter's friends or whatever. I remember one time it was like myself, Terrence Howard, and another guy. We were going for the same role, and it went to the other guy, not me and Terrence. But there was this fine girl that was like, and I was a killer. I was a killer. I usually, my record was pretty damn good. Had my eyes on the finest one. That's what I'm hooking up with on the way back or whatever. I put my gift of gab in, whatever, we go. We're getting ready to go back, right? And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. One of us is not on this bus. Oh no, she's staying. What do you mean she's staying? Oh, Mr. Cosby is seeing to her that she goes, what? What? I was like, this is way before I knew. This is like, we're talking, this is 80 freaking, this is the 80s and shit, right? Mm-hmm. Or early 90s, wherever, when that show was going on. And I'm like, I'll be damned. Next time I go, same goddamn thing happened. I'm dead serious. This time 2 girls stayed. I'm like, this dude is just like, this is a farming situation. You know, this is a, you know, so, that's without anything. I don't know anything about anything at that point. So when I hear about that, I'm going, well, yeah. And I kind of was like, I'd see some my friends had Playboy Channel, and Bill Cosby was always at the Playboy Mansion judging the topless contest. And I was like, wow, I thought it was really interesting. I'm like, here's America's favorite dad, and he's saying this lecherous stuff on this. I was like, that's interesting. And they're not going after him, which I thought was really a trip. So that's just my little firsthand knowledge going, oh, I guess the whole infidelity thing is just cool with folks. And if what he's saying is true, even on his side, if he says these women were consensual, well, so that means you are the most famous, infidelity practicing cat on the planet.
Right, and everyone knows he's married.
Right, so
that is public knowledge.
But then what's public common knowledge is when the girl comes out saying that she was Bill Cosby's daughter. Remember that controversy? There was a controversy coming out.
Oh, he had a side baby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I thought was interesting, and it's like one of those things where I'm like, wait a minute, how is everybody hearing this the same way I'm hearing it? It was never any debate on if he had sex with the mom. The only debate was, is this his real daughter? I'm like, hey, you guys know how you make a daughter, right? So how come nobody's talking about that? I found that really interesting that, she's probably not his daughter. And of course, this girl was in between the ages of his regular kids. And I'm like, and that, I had a theory behind it. I was going, when there's this inference that the media is always out to destroy the black man, I thought this was profoundly interesting because I'm like, this is America's #1 dad. We're not talking about the fact that he could be the father of this child.
Yeah, but that happened after the Cosby Show had been canceled, and this was way.
No, it didn't.
This was during the Cosby Show taping? Oh, okay.
That's why I had that feeling. I was like, this was a grown woman. So this thing, you know what I mean? I thought it was a really kind of profoundly interesting because there was no real backlash behind it, you know?
When you first got to Hollywood, you had a lot of reverse Me Too going on.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. I came to Hollywood. I was I don't think you can call me a player, but I had about like the roster of 14 women at one time that I was dating, and I was pretty honest about it. I got here. I'm a guy. I've been on my own since I was 14. I bring the streets with me. I bring intelligent. I have I have something that I guess there wasn't a whole lot of. I guess a lot of guys were not like. I don't know. I grew up. The thing with the pride of the men that I looked up to, and my ilk, was like how well you can treat a woman. That's even in the bedroom. It's like you don't brag about that you got a woman. You brag about, how well you could, you could please a woman. Whatever. That's where the ego came from. And but then I also enjoyed having women friends. So I was, friends with benefits dude. And I didn't care. It was like, hey, I didn't mind having women friends. If y'all, if you didn't want, I'm telling you straight up, like, look, it don't have to be like this. We could just be friends. And then women talk. For one thing, if you know what you're doing, they tell their friends. That's just the truth. That just was like, and I kept quiet, but it was like, okay, what's up?
Like, what was that scene in Boomerang? With Strange and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
When do I get to fuck you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, hey, if you know what you're doing, you don't have to lie, and you don't have to, you don't have to do none of that stuff. You'd be surprised what people would be down for if you just straight up and honest. I mean, and one thing is a lot of guys didn't understand. It's like, the woman's biggest sexual organ is their brain. You take their brain somewhere. You got them, and plus, I had tricks, and I'm not just talking about physical, I had psychological things. I had game. I had game because, and a lot of folks down here did not have game. They didn't, and I was dating grown ass women when I was 15.
Right.
Yeah, so
well, you had a child when you were how old?
16. I just turned 16.
Just turned 16 with a 20-something-year-old woman. We talked about this last time.
So a lot of women, I was pulling grown women when I was real young, and I had a lot of game.
Well, you dated a couple very high-profile women.
Yeah, and I was always, closed-mouthed about a lot of that. Yeah,
me and you have had private conversations about a couple of these.
I'm still closed-mouthed about it.
So we're not going to talk about that.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Other people do their Google thing. If they want to find out, they find out.
Right.
But
like I said, these were private conversations. I'm not going to put it on blast right now if you don't want to talk about it.
But it's funny because if anybody want to check, they can tell.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we're talking about some Oscar winners along the way here.
Yeah, and top models and people like that. And that's when I was driving around a beat up old Mustang. But it wasn't I knew how to treat women, put it that way. And even when I was out there, and one of the women was who's my current wife. And out of all the exploits I had with some of the finest women and whatever that I knew, nothing compares to what I have now. Nothing, not one moment compares to what I have now with my wife.
Hey, your wife is hella cool. I met her a bunch of times now when I've been over to your house. And what I found interesting is that we'd all be at your spot and we'd be talking and you'd be telling me these stories and you're naming these actual women's as you're telling me these stories, and she's like right there. Yeah. And she's not tripping.
My wife has nothing to worry about. She has nothing to worry. I've dated real famous women, and when my friends were like, man, I can't believe how lucky you are. And I'm like, how lucky am I? You don't this woman might be famous, but she's pretty damn crazy. Yeah. And I'm like, and I'm sorry. The truth of the matter is, I can line up all the finest, most popular, or whatever that I dated, and they don't compare to the regular women that I've dated. Like I loved women who had something going on. Maybe this one's an international banker. She's gonna fly in. Whenever we get together, it's no such thing as bullshit time. We were talking real stuff. I didn't date anybody that I felt like I couldn't see myself with in the long term. Even though we was enjoying whatever the situation was at the time, and my friends, they just were like, how do you, I'm like, but I honestly did not have, I thought this was the way to live. This was what it is, and even if I got married, you get married, you keep your side pieces over here, or you have an understanding with your wife. I never thought I'd be with one woman. I'm like, who does that? And I'm gonna be honest, I'm just not gonna be with one woman. That's really what I thought. Hell no, there's not a woman that can do anything for me other than my wife. And like I say, there's not one part of that lifestyle that I reflect back on and miss. Not one. I never thought things would be the way they are. And, I'm kind of, I know it sounds like, yeah, you the man, and all that kind of stuff back then. No, I wasn't. I really wasn't. I was a hoe.
Well, I don't think that that the average person, the average man, realizes the effect that fame and money has on women. In the same way that a beautiful woman walks in the room and every man stares at her, a famous and or rich man will walk into a room and every woman will stare at him. It's an opposite effect in a way, an equivalent effect.
Well, here's the weird thing. It's like, I've never been with a groupie in my life. I never got with not one groupie in my entire life. Because
there's never been a woman you got with that was a fan of your work.
No.
Really?
Honestly, because I've been so used to real women all that time. The women that I'm talking about were way more famous than me, right? So after when I got married and started looking for this more traditional situation, then put it this way. A woman that came at me or was interested in me because they see me on TV, they're going to pale in comparison on conversations, on everything about them, on me even honoring them, right? How am I going to look at that person, some chicken head or whatever, in comparison to what I'm used to? The women who have their own thing or whatever, and we meet up and we vibe on this level. You know what I mean? So none of the groupie type of people had anything to offer me. That you can't nurture me. You know what I mean? So that's so I never got with any if my power or fame meant anything, they cancel themselves.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Final question. You come from what I would say would be a gangster background.
Somewhat.
Your dad was a gangster.
Uh-huh.
You got into a lot of gangster shit.
Yeah.
When you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently, Tekashi 6ix9ine testified against his entire gang. They all got 15 years, 7 years, 12 years. He took down the entire 9 Trey Bloods, one of the oldest blood sets in New York, if not the oldest. And he walked away with 2 years. From your point of view, what do you think about that?
I think, how do you live with yourself? I think, what kind of life is that? I don't know. I mean, my dealings is not traditional gang-ish, not like a sect like that. I love to fight so much, and that every waking moment I was thinking violence. That's a little problem I had back in the day, and I'd fight for my friends, and I'd put my life on the line. Usually it's really about some enforcement of trying to stick up for somebody else most of the time.
Right.
Yeah, for me.
Friends, gang, the
Yeah.
lines get kind of fuzzy between those two concepts.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, I feel like if you're a real man, there's something that you know that there's something you would live and die for.
Right. Have you ever been told on?
Told what?
Did someone ever snitch on you?
People have backstabbed me, but I've never been in a situation where you could. No, I guess no, because there are situations I could have been in trouble if somebody told on me. Yeah, but no, that's never happened. Not to something, legal wise or whatever. The people have backstabbed me before, shown themselves not to be true.
Okay.
And I always felt sorry for them because it's like, damn, man, like really, you ain't gonna get a cat like me on your corner very, very often.
Yeah.
Like, not corner, but in beside you.
Did you have an arrest record before
No.
you? So you've never gotten arrested?
No, I've been brought in, things like that has happened.
Okay, so
but
you got lucky. Because we
I'm
talked about
very
a lot of
lucky.
the shit that you were involved. You just plain got lucky.
Yeah,
Right. Because you were in how many shootouts?
like 12 probably.
12 shootouts.
Something like that.
You've gotten shot.
But see, this was back when I didn't think that was strange.
Right.
I really didn't think it was that odd, It's just kind of a thing where, I mean, like this. I think I told you the story about what happened in Central Park and the guy got shot beside me. Did I ever tell you about that?
I think so.
Yeah, where, I ran because I thought the guy was because he did like this. The guy that pulled the gun out, for some strange reason, did like that, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was like kind of looking the other way. I saw this movement. Boom, he shoots Buck, then does like this coming down to shoot me. And my brain kicked in on the descent with the gun and I dipped, right? And so I was zigzagged, ran around, just went several blocks around just to get back to where I needed to go. Then had this dance contest because I was doing popping and breaking, getting money for that and all that type of stuff. At the end, finished my day, whatever. Next day, I go to Pam's house. This woman, Pam, she used to just cook nonstop pancakes, and everybody used to always meet up at her house, talk shit, play cards, and all that type of stuff. Then somebody comes in. It's like probably two in the afternoon, saying, "Hey, did you hear Buck?" And I'm not gonna say his last name. Got killed in the park yesterday. And then I go, yeah, I was with him. When I think about that story because for me to be in a life that I forgot that happened or didn't think to mention it, that's how nuts it was. Mm-hmm. To where, yeah, like that's almost like, oh yeah, you see Bucky slipped and like, scraped his leg up. Oh yeah, I was with him. It was almost that common that I think back and I go, wait a minute. Now, as a spectator going, my life was that freaking crazy where somebody had to come into the house and mention that he got shot and killed for me to go, yeah, I was with him. So I'm the luckiest human being on the planet to some degree. It's one of the reasons why I'm very committed with talking to at-risk kids and doing a lot of motivational speaking because I think I've been saved for a reason, and have a life that I could reflect on these things and put some of that in my art. Martial arts has helped me around it. I'm not traumatized behind it for some strange reason. But it's, I don't know, man. But I do know, man, I'm very blessed.
And that's how we're going to end it.
Yeah.
Michael Jai White, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Congrats on everything.
Thank you.
Congrats on both the accomplishments that you made yourself and the luck that you were dealt along the way to allow you to actually have those accomplishments. Because things could have gone very wrong. You and I have spoken. I have people that are close to me who came from Bridgeport. So I really know how bad things are over there. Not that I've seen it, but I've heard firsthand accounts of the horrors that go into that place.
Oh yeah.
Which is where you're from. So congrats on everything. 30 years, 101 film and TV credits, with more movies on the way. The Outlaw Johnny Black in post-production, and some other movies coming as well that are in post right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There was I guess a kiteboarding movie or TV show that's coming.
It's a movie.
A movie.
It's a movie.
That sounds actually. I had to look up what kiteboarding is.
I told you about that. I play the dad.
The dad. With a white kid,
which I've never seen happen before.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming through, man, and the best of luck with everything you do.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me again.
No doubt.
All right.
Peace.